We won't talk about Bruno, but let me give you some tips so that you can learn how to play this song from Disney's movie Encanto. The great thing about this piece is that it comes as part of this book that was published by Hal Leonard that came out with a lot of Encanto's greatest hits. And one of the great things about Hal Leonard Publishing is that it links you to a site where you can listen to accompaniments and as well as a demo track so that you understand and can listen to and hear what the solo track should sound like. Playing with accompaniment tracks makes this so much more fun, and it'll help you understand how the rhythms fit together as well. Of course, you can always go and listen to my own cover video of this song once you are done here. So this song is in the key of E minor, so be sure to try to learn and practice the 1 octave or 2 octaves E minor scale. The most important note in this scale will be the D sharp, which you do find in this song in multiple places. So the way to play a lower D sharp would be low 1 on the D string. Now there is definitely an upper D sharp, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. The D sharp is important because it is the 7th note of the scale in E minor, or it's called the leading tone. The first 2 measures of this version of We Don't Talk About Bruno, those are considered cues. So the notes themselves are a little bit smaller, and it's just to give you an idea of what you're listening for before the first entrance, which is where you're going to start playing. One of the key rhythms here in this song is what we call syncopation. So this means that we are playing on the off beats. We're not playing on the strong beat 1, we're playing on the and of the certain beats. An example of this would be the end of the first line, and if you're trying to refer to it in the song itself, that's the part when they're like saying, we don't talk about Bruno, no, 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 and those no's are actually the syncopated beats that we are going to be playing. So a lot of this song you can definitely play in first position, but in measure 7, I found it easier to actually play these notes up in position. Especially because these notes are quick, it's a little bit easier to play them on the same string versus doing a string crossing. Alright, so in measure 7, I find it a little bit easier to be in position. I mean, if you're not feeling comfortable, you can totally just play this in first position here. But in measure 7, I actually just put my 4 on the B, so it's up here, and my 1 is on a G. And then later on, when I'm also in this same position, my 2 will be actually playing the A because it's a little bit of an extension. I wouldn't do a 3 on the A and then a 4 on the B because it'll feel like you're straining your pinky a bit. So it's 1, stretch 2, 4. Right, so that was measure 7. And then in measure 8, I would actually go back a little bit, so now my 4 is on the A, and then 1 on the F sharp. Right, so there's 4, and then 1, and then you could totally go back up to a 2 on the A and 4, or you could do open and 1. But definitely in the next measure, I would go back to the A string. You can totally do that. Now, for those of you who are more advanced, I challenge you to find fingerings where you can avoid open A's that are super long. Now, don't worry if you are not comfortable going out of first position. You can totally play these same notes in first position. I just chose to put them in position because it just makes for a smoother tone for me, and it just felt better in the hand. So the same positioning happens in measure 25, or if you didn't put measure numbers in your music, it is the last line on the first page. And again, you can totally opt to play this in first position, but I opted to play it in position so I didn't have to deal with all the string crossings. Again, I'll be in that same position as earlier where my 4th finger is on a B and my 1st finger is on a G. Now, say you wanted to give this fingering a try, but you're like, I don't even know how to find that B up high. All you have to do is first find your G that's in first position, right? So normally we play G with our pinky. Then what you have to do is you substitute your 1 in place of your pinky. So your pinky was playing the G, and now just switch it to your 1. And then from the G, you can check your A, which is, again, a stretch 2. You can always check your A, the fingered A, with your open A. And then fourth finger is on the B. Now, if you really wanted to be sure, you can play the song Hot Cross Buns while you're in this area. I know it's kind of totally separate from the actual song, but it will guarantee that you are probably in the right position or the right spacing with your left hand. So now in 25, so you can see those 25 and 26 and even 27. So that is an alternative fingering that I was talking about. But the finger that I did in the video, I did here. I come back to first position. And then I slide up into the A. So that means that I'm actually applying weight before I actually reach the A, and then I'm sliding into the A. So for the next section, starting from measure 29 going to 32, you can also opt to do that again in first position or in the position that you were before, where your 4 is on the B and your 1 is on the G. Now there's an added bonus that if you are in position, then you're kind of all set up for the following section, which is measure 33 with a high E. 32 into 33, so if you opted to be in position, you have your 4th finger on the B. And then from there, when you have to find the high E, you just put your 2nd finger from here and move it over to the A string. And there's your E. But say you decided to play this all in first position. Then what I would do is you stretch out your hand, do a tiny hop from the stretch. Here's the E. And then if you're not feeling comfortable playing the C with a 1, go back to the 2. And then you can do a stretch 4. So it's a lot of pinky stuff, which can give your pinky a little bit of a workout, but again, that's an easy way of playing it. In the video, I did to do a little bit of a gliss, so a glissando or a slide. So I'm here on the C, and then I slide up into the D sharp. So that's what we call a gliss or a slide into it. So I did. So you can totally play around with different fingerings. Another fingering that I had mentioned was the 4, and then 1 on the C, and then 3. You definitely have to move for the B. But if you don't like all the moving around, this is another great option for fingering. So you can do any number of combinations of C natural, D sharp with different fingerings, but the idea is that you're going to come back to first position after all of that. At the end of 55, I talked about doing a gliss there, and that would be with the fingering. I have a 2 on the C, and then I'm just doing another 2 onto the D. So obviously in slow-mo, it just seems a little bit excessive, but when you're doing it at the right tempo and the right speed, it can just add a little something. Measure 43 has some pretty snappy rhythms there, but if you make sure to practice it with a metronome, you'll be good to go. Okay, let's go over the rhythm in 43 and 44 really quick, because it is a little bit tricky. So what I'm going to do is play it a lot slower, but I'm going to play it with a metronome so that you can hear it. So the metronome is going to be set to the quarter note beat while I play this. Let's try that again. So remember, my metronome is playing the quarters. Let's play it once while I'm in first position so you can hear. playing these songs, it is not really about the bowing. It is more about just enjoying the notes and the rhythms and having fun with playing the song. But one thing that I should point out is don't confuse ties for slurs. So a tie, the difference is there are two notes that are identical and they are definitely joined together by that curve, that arc that looks like a slur. The only difference is that there is no articulation or changes between the two notes, so that makes it one long note. In this song particularly, when you see these ties, it is starting that syncopated rhythm that is often found in this song. So just be aware that slurs and ties are two totally different things, even though they look similar because they have that arc over the two notes. Remember, if the note is the same, it's probably going to be a tie. Well, we all know this song gets super complicated in the movie, and if you haven't watched this movie, go watch this movie. It's super fun and very heartwarming, but I'm really glad that Hal Leonard came out with this easy condensed version, and you can totally spice it up in terms of making things a little bit more difficult for yourself or keeping it easy by keeping things in first position here. It's totally up to you. And that's the beauty of it, is no matter what your skill level is, you always can learn something from any type of music. I hope these tips were helpful, but if there was any questions that I didn't answer, be sure to leave them in the comments below. If you want to check out some more Disney hits, click on the video on your screen right now. And if you just want to listen to some other cover videos that I had, there is also a playlist on the screen right now that you can click on and watch more Cellomoji videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!